You know what it is. It's Chance and Mills, scrambling, gambling. You know, you got to figure it out, shoot the dice, bet on yourself. You know, today's guest is Tae Carter. What's going on, Tay?
Ain't nothing much, man. What's going on with you?
You already know we coolin', man. What's good, man? Tell the people about yourself, man. Where you from and what you do.
You already know, originated from Belgrade, Florida, migrated to the coast, lived in Wellington for a little bit, played ball over here, played at Summit Christian, finished up at Grandview Prep for on the prep level, and ended up going to Santa Fe. Played up there for 2 years, and then ended up transferring to Eckerd. So that's where all my playing stops was at.
Okay. So tell the people how tall you is.
6'7", 240.
Okay. So tell us about when you was playing in high school, you know, how everything was going with the recruiting process, you know, what schools was looking at you and what schools that you really wanted to go to.
Oh, yeah. High school, man, I missed out on a year because I was in an accident my freshman year, so I missed out on a year. But 10th grade year, played at Summit Christian. We was pretty good, made it to the state semifinals, and that's when everything started to heat up for me. Got interest levels from everybody from like UF, Florida State, Baylor, Virginia Tech, Texas Tech, all across the board, FIU, FAU, Georgia Southern. I had people from all levels of the Division I on me at that point. And then, I ended up transferring to Grandview Prep the next year. Once again, made it back to the state semifinals. Actually advanced to the state finals. Didn't get it done, but at the same time, things just kept getting better for me. Was able to play for the Florida Rams on the AAU circuit, which was an Adidas-sponsored team, and still had kind of the same schools on me, but nobody really pulled the trigger and offered me. Still Baylor, FAU, FSU, UF, Miami a little bit, Missouri State, just a couple other schools. And then my senior year, once again, made it to the state tournament, then didn't get the job done. And from a personal side, I was all county, all state, all 3 years I played. Want to talk numbers, I was ranked in the state, I was ranked in the nation a little bit, that stuff like that. So I had a decent high school career. That was probably the highlight of my basketball career was my high school career. And my recruitment didn't end up working out like I thought it was when it came around to my senior year. Baylor was up and down. They was around, but they wasn't around. They was talking about finding me a prep school, finding me a JUCO, and some other schools like UCF and just a couple other schools felt that I was a tweener at the time, felt that they didn't know if I was a wing or a power forward, and didn't really know where to play me for the level of schools that would recruit me. So I didn't want to settle. So it was nothing against going Division II. I just felt like at the time I wasn't Division II caliber. So I became aware of the junior college route. And junior colleges started recruiting me, and they educated me on the fact that I can come there and didn't have to stay 2 years there because I was an NCAA qualifier.
Okay.
So if I qualified, I cleared the clearinghouse before I graduated. So that means if I went JUCO and whatever school wanted me, whether it was Division I, Division II, after my first year of junior college, I had the ability to leave because as long as I got the right amount of credits to transfer, I could have left junior college after a year and had 3 years at an upper level school. But I got to junior college, man, and ended up playing full time on the wing where I thought I belonged, and it was a struggle for me. I'll be honest with you. It was a transition for me. You know what I'm saying? I go from playing my back to the basket and being able to do a little bit of everything to really having to be on the wing full time and having to rebound from the wing spot, having to learn how to create my own shot from the wing spot. Different things like that. So my freshman year, I was up and down. I have like 17 points. 4 or 5 rebounds one game. Then I come back and have like 8 points and 3, 4 rebounds. So I just could never figure it out. And that's, to be honest, like that's normal for the average freshman. Like
Okay.
because you got to think about this. You go from playing with boys to grown men every night.
True.
That's
Different
the
ball
difference.
game.
Yeah, I didn't lift weights, none of that in high school. I just played.
What was your
what I'm
weight
saying?
size?
200, about 200 soaking wet.
Also,
That's just length though. That ain't no
Okay.
strength. That was length.
So what's your weight now?
240.
Okay, so that's a big difference. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
difference.
I'm a grown man now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
totally different.
yeah, and back then you going up against cats that's probably my size that every bit of 215, 220.
Yeah,
They formed, they ready.
yeah, absolutely.
So but all that's a learning process. And my second year there, so my freshman year I didn't get the looks or the interest that I thought I was gonna receive to get up out of there. So I chose to come back. And the first day of practice, my sophomore year, doing a one-on-one drill, made a crossover, and there it was. My leg gave out on, my knee gave out on me, and blew my whole knee.
Sheesh.
never really had a chance to shake back from then. You know, I was able to rehab and had surgery, and then I came back, but I wasn't 100%, and I ended up re-tearing it after my red shirt year, and had to, you know, come home, get my mind right, and decide if it was something I wanted to continue to chase. And I did, and I was fortunate enough to work my way back to get the Eckerd. But once I got the Eckerd, I just still wasn't healthy enough to compete at the level that I once could, and it was a struggle for me, but I was able to maintain it enough or sustain the race to get my degree, and that's when I knew that, you know, I did all I could do from a physical standpoint, and at some point you just got to be real with yourself and
Yeah.
know that the time is up.
So with all those accolades, what was the core position that you really wanted to play? Like from seeing yourself now and back then, if you could change that, what would be the core position you felt like you could have played that you know you could have fitted, and what would have been the school that you would have chose if you can do it all again?
I'd have definitely, like looking at the game now and knowing what I know now, I was a power forward. I was
Okay.
a skilled guy, probably and not necessarily undersized at that side at that position, but I was a power forward, and I had the school. If I could choose to do it all over again, would have been Florida State. Like Florida State was the one high major school that was always in contact with me and wanted to see me take that next step.
Yeah.
For, you know, for them to be able to say feel comfortable enough to offer me.
Was Leonard Hamilton still a coach? Or was
Leonard Hamilton was the
Okay.
coach, and Stan Jones was who was still there as well. He was the guy that I was in contact with, and we still have a relationship to this day.
Okay, yeah,
You know
that's
what
a
I'm
good
saying?
program.
He always kept it real. But just from a high major standpoint, Florida State was the school I wanted to go to. But from a realistic standpoint, I saw myself as a mid-major, all-conference player, and Missouri State or VCU would have been probably the prototypical fit for me at that time.
Okay. So all through the injuries and everything, if you know you would have been healthy, what did you would have project yourself in the NBA? You think you would have been a first round, second round, undrafted? What you think? With
Man,
your skills?
you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. You know, I would have had to go and do what I knew I was capable of doing, and would have just had to let the chips fall how they fall.
Okay. Understand. So through your you say you went to Eckerd and everything. So after your career at Eckerd, what did you follow up doing after that?
I ended up I told myself if I wasn't gonna play professionally, then I made a vow to myself to go back to school to get my master's. So I ended up going back, get my master's in ed leadership from UCF, and in the midst of doing that, I had an opportunity to go back to Santa Fe College, where it started for me collegiately to be a coach. So I was an assistant coach at Santa Fe. Did a little bit of everything, man. You know, I did scouts. I washed the laundry. You know, work with the bigs.
Figuring it
I
out.
recruited. You know, everything you name it, I did it. So I was a jack of all trades, and it was great for me because there's no other way to learn if you don't have to get in and do the grunt work.
So that's a totally difference from being a player to turning player coach.
Right, for sure. Because as a player, you're ignorant and you're naive to all the things that coaches have to do to make sure you're prepared for whatever game is coming up to put you in the best position to win.
True. Absolutely. So what was you guys' record at Eckerd? Did you guys do pretty good?
Nah, we struggled that year. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we ended up making it to the conference tournament, and we ended up losing the semifinal game to go to the state tournament, where you have to advance to get to the national tournament.
And then what about Santa Fe coaching debate?
My coaching, what that?
Debate at Santa Fe,
As far as what?
the record wise.
Oh man, I can't even tell you. I ain't the best with numbers.
Just to learn experience.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so you trust the process. So what did you learn from your transaction from being a player to a coach? What did you learn from that process?
The biggest thing is preparation, just how much prep goes into how much prep and hard work and dedication goes into getting guys prepared to perform at the highest level, or giving guys everything you feel they need to be able to perform at their highest level. True. And just understanding, like, man, you know, a lot of times as players, you don't take the tactical stuff as serious as you probably should. Like, for instance, I was a natural born athlete. Like, I was gifted in a lot of areas. I wasn't as fundamentally sound. So a lot of times when coaches was giving out the scout reports and things and so forth like that, you know, I would look, but I wouldn't dive into it because I was like, my mindset and model was, you know, it's mano y mano. I got I'm a lock him down type thing. But it's like, as a coach, you know, you learn that a scout report is a scout report for a reason. You need to know if this guy's left-handed or right-handed. You need to know, does he pump fake on his shots and all that type of thing, because the higher the game, the deeper the IQ, you know, the more important of the IQ and understanding of what's really going on out there. You know, you have to know every detail of the game and the personnel of the game to excel.
True. So what age did you pick up the basketball?
I picked it up at like 10 because when we was living in Belgrade, you know, there's only one middle school out there. And I know when I was
Lakeshore.
Lakeshore
Yeah.
Middle School, and so my biggest thing was leaving Pioneer Park when I was going to elementary school at the time was I wanted to be ready to make the team at Lakeshore because I knew they only picked 2 6th graders.
Okay.
And I know by any means I had to be one of them too. And so I picked it up at that time, and you know, coming up out there, you know, it's still football over everything.
Yeah.
But I always had a passion for basketball. But I really took basketball serious once we moved to West Palm in the Wellington area at 13.
Okay.
You know, I played at Polo Park Middle, and that's when I really, you know, was starting to make a name for myself in the community and the area, and you know, was able to play for the Wellington Wolves travel team, and got a chance to start playing outside the state or around the state and things and so forth like that. And that's when I really knew that I had a chance to be pretty good at it if I continued to work.
So growing up in the mud, was there any type of like basketball players that you looked up to that you felt like was like a mentor, role model that you felt like?
The one like coming up, you know, Zay Dodell, and that was
Okay.
from afar. You know what I'm
Pahokee.
saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
we ended up, you know, establishing a relationship later on down the line in our careers. But just, you know, Zay Dodell was one of the names that always came up. It was one of the guys, I wouldn't say names that come up, but it was one of the guys that was really able
Yeah, he went to
to
Virginia
do
Tech.
it. Yeah, he was able to do it at a high level. But, you know, for me, it was the John Browns, the Joe Mars, you know what I'm saying, R.I.P. the Slick, you know, that team there. And then, you know, Kiki.
Okay, yeah.
Sam Tarver, you know, he was a pretty good player. So, you know, all them cats that came up who I was able to sit, you know, able to go watch when I didn't really know basketball, but I knew those guys, you know, those was the guys I knew. You know what I'm saying? And even from Pahokee, like you had Lil Man, you know what I'm saying, and guys like that. So those were the guys who I looked up to as far as when you go to talking about guys who could hoop in our area.
True. So your journey started there. So you went to Santa Fe. So tell me about like after Santa Fe, what happened next?
Well, after Santa Fe, I had gave myself a timeline. I wanted to do 3 years at Santa Fe because once I got that opportunity, I realized it was destined for me, and this is what it was I wanted to do and chase after. So I wanted to give myself a 3-year timeline. Now, the first year to just get my feet wet, learn the groundwork of how junior college basketball operates from the coaching side, and just learn the system. Second year, take on more responsibility, become more tactical with, you know, understanding the opposing team offenses and defenses and, you know, just the things they do. And then, you know, third year, see what's out there for me. Whether it's, you know, trying to go get a JUCO head job myself or trying to become a grad assistant at a major D1 or potentially become a D1 assistant coach one day and so forth like that. But God had other plans, and those plans were to test my talents in the NBA. You know,
Okay.
I was on Twitter one day looking on Hoop Dirt. There's some popular site for college coaches or just basketball coaches in general who are always just seeking other opportunities. And I saw a player development internship come up for the Dallas Mavericks, and
Okay.
I just shot my shot for it. And it wasn't, you know, me trying to skip the process or anything like that. It was just, look, I know I need to become better at what it is I'm trying to do. There's no other place than to learn from a top tier NBA organization that, you know, that has consistent winning and great players has come in and out of there. So it's like, if I can get here and learn, and I'm looking at it as far as learning that from up there to bring it back to Santa Fe.
True.
So I was graced and fortunate enough to get that opportunity, and it just opened doors for me there. You know, ended up having a good time there, learned a lot. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, so I ended up, you know, learning a lot there. You know, was very naive and just raw. I was just raw to what goes on in the NBA. Like, I had no clue to how NBA practice was structured. You know, none of that. You know, how these guys perform on a day-to-day basis. So to be up close and exposed to that on a day-to-day basis was just magnificent itself. And, you know, doing that for a whole season made me realize this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes to something bigger and better. And, you know, I just went for it and was fortunate enough to catch on with the Orlando Magic after that as an assistant video coordinator / player development coach.
Okay. So let's get back to the Dallas Mavericks. Now tell me about that. You said it was your first experience. So you took a risk, you rolled the dice, you bet on yourself. That's scrambling gambling. So how was it working with the Dirk Nowinski's? Who else was around that
You
time?
had Harrison Bourne, J.J. Barrera,
Okay.
Andrew Bogut, Quincy Acey was there for a short amount of time, Darren Williams, Justin Anderson.
Okay.
Wesley Matthews was there. He was there at the time, but in the day, pros.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So it was like from 0 to 100. So you come from Santa Fe, now you're in the NBA. So it was like way different.
It was way different. Like you said, you go from having to having to be at the gym with no restrictions. In the college level, you can only be at the gym a certain amount of time a day, or you can only have a certain amount of contact with guys, and do this and do that. And you got class checks, you got study hall, this and that. NBA, you got basketball
all day, every day.
You got your workouts in the morning, you got your pre-practice workouts, then you got practice, you got post-practice workouts, then you got night shooting. So it's basketball from the time you wake up, and then by the time you go to bed, you got to wake up and do it all over again. And it's just, like you say, to see these guys have basketball as a job was amazing to me, because all you have to do is perfect your craft, work on your game, and something good will come out of this for you.
Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off.
So, like, what your experience with them, who are some of the guys that you learned a lot from with your experience your first year in the league with the Mavericks?
Everybody. And what I mean by everybody, because there's a tier system in my eyes on rosters. You got your Dirk Nowitzki's, your superstars. You got your Wesley Matthews, the guys who is a starter on your team, an up-and-coming guy, that you're looking to contribute a lot, like a Harrison Barnes. And then you got your rookies. You got guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, and we had a young kid by the name of Nico Brasina at that time and stuff like that. And then you got guys like Quincy Acey. So you got all these guys that everybody play a vital role in trying.
Everybody play their position.
Their paths are different. You know what I'm saying? You got first-round picks, the undrafted guys, and everybody doing what's necessary to make sure that they can make their dream come true.
Put the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly. So, I learned from everybody. I learned what it's like for Dirk to come in the gym, and, he done been a 17, 18-year vet, and he's still in. He the first one in, the last one out. I'm learning from an undrafted guy in training camp, first one in, last one out, and, hanging on, clinging on to one of the assistants to make sure he know what's going on and what's expected of him doing drills and offensive and defensive assignments and all that. I'm taking heed to all of that.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So, because if I'm trying to be up here with where they are, and I'm trying to be able to communicate to these guys, I got to know how to get through to them, and I got to make sure whatever I say to them is valid.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
One thing about those guys is they know their stuff. People may think they don't, but they do.
So you
the one time you bluff,
yeah.
So the one time if you try to bluff something, they gonna call you out on it. And now you done burnt your face.
So who's your coaching tree? Rick Carlisle.
I mean, if you want to say that, it started there.
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work under Rick Carlisle, Frank Vogel, JB Bickerstaff, and Brad Jones, as far as with the Memphis Grizzlies, because I was with the Memphis Hustle, but we all was one big family. And then last and foremost, working with the Pacers last year, Nate McMillan.
Okay, so all right, we finished with the Mavericks. Okay, so you done with the Mavericks. Now you're back in Florida and Orlando. Tell me about the Orlando experience.
The Orlando experience, it was great because, first of all, I got the interview.
Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic. Yep. I got the interview right before training camp, a week before training camp. Got offered a job the day before training camp started. Didn't get cleared for the job through HR until the first game of the season, right before pre-game workouts. So with that job, I started that. I literally, like you say, out the mud and thrown into the fire. That was my experience with the Orlando Magic. My first day on the job was pre-game workouts against the Miami Heat, the first game of the season. So I didn't have a clue of terminology, how they do things, nothing. It was just figure it out.
So that's Frank Vogel, okay. And then some of the players you worked with there, I think Mambo was a rookie?
No, he wasn't there.
Okay,
no.
Sorry.
We had Vucevic was still there,
okay.
Fournier, DJ Augustine, Mo Spates, Aaron Gordon. Jonathan Isaac was a rookie. Jonathan Isaac and Wes Iwundu was rookies. Mario Hezonja, Bismack Biyombo, Shelvin Mack, Kim Birch, Maybe missing a few other guys, but that's for the most part. That was the roster we had
So
that year.
so tell me this. So Aaron Gordon, he really do be jumping out the gym like that?
Yes, he's a human. He's a human pogo stick.
Human pogo stick. So you think he's probably one of the best dunkers in the league?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. What he like 6'10"?
Yeah, he tall. Yeah, he about 6'10".
Okay. So that was a good experience working with those guys. You in Disneyland, got the Orlando Magic. So you back home. So it was a good experience.
That was a good experience. I wouldn't necessarily call it Disneyland because, you know, working in the league or just working period, you don't have time to experience all the amenities that the city provides to you. But that was a significant job in itself because that was my first time to actually get my hands dirty. You know, working with the Mavericks, I was more so like a manager and such, but like I was involved. My main responsibility and duties with the Mavericks was pass, rebound, token defense every now and again, and you know, making sure if it's a wet spot on the floor, go wipe it up and all that. So it was a humbling experience as well because I wasn't expecting to do all those things, and then not that I wasn't opposed to doing them, I just wasn't expected to. But like you say, you got to roll the dice, bet on yourself. You got to do anything necessary to get to whatever it is you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying? Because all that's gonna pay off.
Yeah.
And when you're forced to be uncomfortable and do things that you might not want to do or feel the need to do, you're gonna do everything to get up out of that environment because you're gonna say, I can't go back to this, or I'm tired of doing this. So if you're tired of something, you gotta change it. You gotta do what's necessary to change it. So when I got to Orlando, keep in mind, I still had to do all of that I did in Dallas. So that actually groomed me for what I was looking for. So I had to do all of that plus more. Now it was all of that and more coaching responsibility. So now I'm learning how to cut games through sports code and learning how, you know, labeling every possession and getting it ready for whatever assistant coach who's upcoming scout is coming up. So he has the game and he has the personnel needed to prepare the team for our next opponents. In the midst of now I'm getting my hands, now I'm a little more involved with the player development, starting out as helping one of the coaches on the court with whatever player they are assigned, to later that coach trusted me and let me work with that player. You know, I'd be the head of the workout or the lead on the workout, and he assists me with it. So it groomed me. It got me started for the things that was next for me coming up.
That's a hell of an experience because at the same time, one day you become a head coach. Now you know the things that you went through. If somebody else on your staff, you become a head coach, knows how to do those things, you know if they're going to be done right or they're going to be wrong because you went through those and you trust the process.
Exactly. And I was blessed because Frank Vogel got his start that same way. So it's like, there's no better way than to work as a video guy for a former video guy because he understands the grind and understands the work that has to be put in order to get to where you're trying to go. And then that's just added motivation right there every day. He's a head coach, and you know at some point you have to want to be a head coach. So you know you're looking at it like some days when it get hard and feel like you know is that goal is not obtainable.
That shows you that.
You know you peek your head in that office and say, yes, it look, you was right here one day. Keep working and you know everything work itself out.
So okay, so you back home in Magic. Now the next stop is Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about Memphis, how that experience was. Who was your head coach at Memphis?
So my head coach was Brad Jones because now I went from being in the NBA to the NBA G League. You know, we were let go with the Orlando Magic, and our lead assistant at the time in Orlando, Chad Forcier, he ended up becoming the lead assistant with the Memphis Grizzlies, and he looked out for me by, you know, the Memphis Hustle had hired a new coach and was looking for some assistants, and you know he mentioned me to him, and me and Brad got on the phone and things went well. I came up and interviewed, and like a week later, he ended up offering me the gig. And I mean, Brad was just vital to my growth tremendously because I went from being a video guy to not having a voice and just having to do everything necessary to make sure things go well with the Magic to now I'm the fourth assistant with a Memphis Hustle team, and I'm in meetings. And mind you, the staffs are smaller in the G League, so now I'm in draft meetings, I'm in free agent meetings, and I'm in coaches meetings, and now I'm being called upon for my suggestions and thoughts of what I think about certain things and situations pertaining to our team. So it forced me to grow up, you know what I'm saying? I was the youngest on the staff as well, so it forced me to grow up and it forced me to be ready for what it was I said I wanted to do.
True.
So I went from preparing scouts and making sure the assistant coach have it to now in the G League, we don't have these resources. We don't have a large staff to I have my own scouts to work on and prepare for myself and have to present to the team and make sure I have to do everything in my power when it's my time, my scout to make sure the team is ready to go. I
Back
have
to
to
the
be able to
basics.
present to them. You know what I'm saying? So having that stop in the G League and having to becoming an assistant coach in the league, like it definitely probably been my most instrumental stop thus far because it prepared me for what it was that I said I wanted to do. I was able to get my real-time reps as an assistant coach. I was able to sit behind the bench. I was able to have duties. I was able to have video responsibilities, on court player development responsibilities, and so forth. So it really prepared me for what it was, for the journey I asked God to set me on.
Yeah, because you gotta look at it. It's like you said, you were trying to take a different route with the JUCO, and then you just took a chance on yourself, and look what happened. And it took you on a good journey. You feel me? Like you say, you went to Twitter, you rolled the dice, bet on yourself, good turnout. So you in Memphis, how was the food in Memphis? You know, they say Memphis got the good soul food.
Yeah,
How was the food?
Memphis food was good, man. I got a spot if you ever in Memphis, a Soul Food Cafe. They got the best catfish.
Okay.
They got the best catfish in town. Collard greens good, macaroni and cheese good. If you're a sweet tea person like myself, sweet tea A1. But Soul Food Cafe was my spot in Memphis. But for the most part, the ribs, everything, it lives
Got
up
me
to the
hungry.
hype. No, it definitely lives up to the hype.
Okay. So food. What about Dallas? How was the food in Dallas?
Dallas food was cool. I mean, they tried to hype it a little bit, but Dallas is a little tricky, man. You know, it's a little bit of everything. It's a little
Okay.
upscale. It's, you know, got a little hood over there, got a little suburbs over there, you know, so you just gotta get in where you fit in Dallas. But Dallas did introduce me to Raising Cane's. I will say that. So
Oh yeah, they got the good
so
chicken
shout out to
tenders.
Raising Cane's for that.
You like the sauce, the orange sauce?
I don't even deal with the sauce. I
No
just like
sauce?
the chicken just that good.
Oh man, I'm a sauce king, man. I
Right.
gotta have that sauce, man. So I know Orlando. I'm pretty familiar with Orlando, so I know Orlando food.
Yeah.
So I'm with what was one of the players that stood out for you when you was working with Memphis?
Once again, that was a revolving door as well for us. But man, with our group, just speaking on the hustle specifically, all our guys, man, because you know there was a lot of guys just dealing with the G League itself. Guys bet on themselves, you know, guys who think they're on the cusp of becoming NBA prospects and things and so forth like that. And we, you know, all of our guys ended up having situations better than what they had coming with us. Like we had guys like Tyler Harvey, Dusty Hannes, Tariq Phillip, and we had a couple more other guys, Kyle Casey. We had guys, three of those guys were call-ups. Let me start with that. Dusty Hannes, Tariq Phillips, and Tyler Harvey ended up being call-ups and were able to play in the summer league that following year. And I know guys like
What about Rab? I like Rab from California.
Ivan Rab. Ivan was on the Memphis roster. He was on the Grizzlies roster. Him and Javon was our assignments that year.
Okay.
Him and Javon was our
What was
assignments.
the,
And I left out Julian Washburn and Yuta Watanabe.
Yeah.
They were our two ways at one point, and both of those guys split time between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Memphis Hustle. But like I said, all our guys they embraced what it was we was trying to do and what we put in place for those guys, and we advanced to the semifinals of the playoffs that year. And like I said, the following year, some of those guys went back to the G League. Some of those guys bettered their situation by having lucrative opportunities overseas.
So you think the G League is a good farm system like baseball to
No question.
produce players?
No question.
True. Yeah, so I know. I remember. I think I seen a game. The guy was 7'2". I think he's from China. Son, how was he? Was he like a Yao Ming? I think it was like 7'2". Quitma.
No.
Okay. Okay, my bad. So tell me about your latest adventure with the Pacers. How was that?
Now with the Pacers, I mean, for me, I've been blessed. Every job I've had, it's been a promotion, and it's been an added learning experience for me, because even before I got to the Pacers, I was fortunate enough to go to China for a few months over in Shanghai and work with the Shanghai Sharks.
How was that?
That was great, because that was a culture shock for me. You know, first time really leaving out of the country and having a chance to go, you know, help some guys, you know, better themselves and become better basketball players and men at the end of the day. So that was great for me. You know, first time in China. You know, everybody we see all the stuff. We eat the Chinese food in the States and all of that, but to have a chance to actually go to their homeland and, you know, and during some of their cultural activities. And
How was the culture? I was just about to ask you, how was the culture?
Culture was good, man. You know, people friendly. You know, They're very friendly over there. They nice. You know, they treat you well, and they they love us. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They love us. So that was good. But yeah, to be able to go over there for a few months and learn, to help them out and like you say, learn from them as well was cool. And when I got back, I got a phone call from the Indiana Pacers saying, they had heard great things about me and wanted to interview me for a player development video coordinator position, and came in and interviewed. And before I can get back on the plane to go to Memphis, they offered it to me, and I just said, hey, this is where I want to be, try this. And when I got here, it was kind of similar to my role in Orlando when I started out with being a support guy, helping the coaches with player development opportunities, helping the coaches with, preparing scouts and helping them and like a month within the season, I was leading player development workouts, and I was the coach I was paired with, Bill Bano. He was trusting me with, doing the scout report or letting me put whatever I felt needed on the scout report. And, if he saw fit, if he saw need to change, he obviously would change it. But, just giving me that freedom, letting me get my reps in with, doing what it is that I say I want to do one day. So, I was forever grateful for all of that.
So your head coach now at the time is Nate McMillan, correct?
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was at the Pacers.
Yes.
Okay. So how was it working with the I know they had the two brothers on the team, the Holiday brothers.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. That's like my little extended family, Aaron and Justin, you know what I'm saying? So, it was cool. And we had a great group, you know what I'm saying? All those guys was, hungry and humble and got to it every day. So, there's nothing more you can ask for as a coach with that, because, you don't have to worry about anything when you leave the building.
Absolutely.
With those guys. So, I would definitely say all those guys were pros, you know what I'm saying? They went about their business well, and you know what I'm saying? We all did what we could do to try to get as far as we can get with it.
So how was the food in Indiana?
Food in Indiana's all right.
Straight?
Yeah, but we do have a little soul food spot up there.
Okay.
We do have one. Country Kitchen is what it's called. And if you're ever in Indiana, stop by Country Kitchen, and we got certain spot. It's the same. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I eat the same stuff everywhere I go, so it's all good for me.
So how's the process behind the scenes? Like I say, you said before, you got the daily schedule. So you guys had any time to like relax, have fun, or is it strictly business?
That's strictly business. When you hungry, man, and you destined to get where it is you want to go, you got to kind of put the leisure time on the back burner.
Yeah, got to chase.
At the same time, you have to make time for leisure time, but it's for me, it's more work than leisure. Like the leisure will be there.
Yeah.
The leisure will be there, because I'm not where I want to be, so I don't
work hard, play later.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't believe in settling or saying, oh, it ain't fair that I can't go be with my friends and I got to do
sacrifices.
They'll be there, and if I got real friends and family, they understand what has to be done in order for me to get to where I'm trying to go.
Absolutely. So how was your time in the bubble? I know that was a different experience.
It was different, but once again, that's my lifestyle. I'll eat, sleep, and drink basketball. So I was cool. The hardest part was just, being away from family at that time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Having my fiance up in Indiana by herself. Yeah. This and that, and then, dealing with some family issues down home, with family members suffering from COVID and things so like that. So just not being accessible to them during those times, that was the hardest part. But just from a basketball standpoint, it was cool. You like you say, you doing basketball all day, and all of that.
Couldn't really leave the campus. Probably.
No, you couldn't leave the campus. No, everything was on the campus. You ate. They fed us every day. They had a restaurant in our resort, and at a certain point, we were able to go to other resorts and eat at their restaurants and things as well. They had a bowling alley on site that we actually went to before we started the playoffs. Nice. So that was cool. That was fun.
Yeah, I know. I seen a couple of players. They had like the little Lunchable meals.
Yeah, they were. But the food wasn't as bad as it looked. I'll attest to that. The quarantine food that we had to eat the first 72 hours, I think it was when we had the quarantine, looked horrible, but it wasn't.
Wasn't that bad,
And when it's all you got to make do with what you have.
Survival kids, man.
Exactly. So, but it was cool. Guys, mostly the players, because once the game started, we had to prepare and prep. So a lot of the guys spent time out on the lakes with the platoons and fishing and just finding different things to do, playing cornhole and all of that. So greatest thing is we survived, and that was that.
Good experience.
Great experience.
Yeah. It kind of seemed like an AAU tournament, really, to me.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
It was, yeah.
No, but I know people say that, but I was there, so I'll go on the record and say it wasn't. Like, that was the most impressive part about the bubble, that, guys really came and got to work.
True.
Like guys, like when that first, I still remember like the first game I watched, and those guys were out there competing. Like guys really came and played. They
So the
didn't take it for
competition
granted.
level was totally different than playing home. The way it was, you
Yeah,
guys
but it
all want.
still shows you that regardless of fans or not, regardless of, and obviously we all want fans in the building, but we can't at this time. But it's
Yeah,
just like fans or not, this is our job, this is our livelihood. We have to play. And
absolutely,
it's just competitive nature.
absolutely.
Like when that ball go up, it's time to get it.
Yeah. So you got to see a lot of different players, a lot of different teams. Now, how was that? Just brushing
It's
shoulders?
cool. Yeah, I mean that's work. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
work.
It's
Yeah,
work. It's work. You know what I'm saying? You speak, some guys hold conversations, some guys don't. There's no pressure, but it's work at the end of the day, man. You can't get caught up in that fanfare stuff. It's work, and guys respect that. You know what I'm saying? They have plenty of people all day, trying to, want autographs and want their jobs. No, it's work, man.
yeah. So it sounds like your work ethic is tremendous because it's like everywhere you go, you learn from every team that you go, and you try to seem like to make yourself better. So it's like you're on the right track. So what do you see yourself in the future? What are your plans that you want to do?
My plans is to become a head coach. I mean, my long-term goal is to become a head coach in the league, and my short-term goal is to become a front bench NBA assistant coach in the near future. And and whatever else God has in store for me, I'm more than willing to take a chance on that opportunity as well.
Absolutely. So what have you learned from you learned something different from each team that you went? You took something different from your relationships, being under different head coaches. What have you took from that?
Everything, and it's all a process, and it's more so just a personal process for me. For when my time come, I'll be able to put all of that together from what I've learned from each stop and what I like and what I dislike from each stop, and put it all together to my liking to make fit for me. So a lot of that stuff now, I won't really get into the specifics of it
Yeah,
because personally it don't really matter right now because I'm still not running the show. But once it's time for me to run the show and have a dramatic input on things, then I can go back into my files and look back on things, and like I said, what I like from Mavericks, what I like from the Orlando Magic, or what I don't like, put it all together, evaluate it, and mesh it all together for my liking.
okay. So I like that. See that for those young guys out there that are tuning in, it's like you said, you had an injury, but you never gave up in your dream, and your blessing came back around that you're still chasing your dream, but in a different shape or form. So
Facts.
what would you give those guys advice out there? They're doing the same thing, but they might not make it to where they want to make it, but they can still be in the same field.
I mean, you gotta just always go for what you know, man. And you can't be stubborn to the game because the game gonna stop at some point. For some
Absolutely.
of us, it stopped quicker than most of us. You know what I'm saying? And you just have to be prepared for whatever it is that's for you once the game has stopped. You can't let the game control you because a lot of
Absolutely.
people let the game control them. They feel like it's ball or nothing. Grow up with a lot of supposed to be NFL players. They don't make it. Then what's next? They psychologically messed. They haven't prepared for what's next because all their whole life everybody's told
PTSD.
them.
Yep.
Everybody always told them they're gonna be in the NFL or they're gonna be in the NBA. All that, and then they just don't know what to do next. And you can't become a prisoner to the game. Always always have your head on the swivel. Always have your pivot foot ready because that ball is gonna stop one day, and you have to be ready for what's next. I was grateful. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew I always wanted to coach, but not at the capacity I was fortunate enough to do it in.
Blessings.
My biggest thing was coming back and pouring into the young guys. I wanted to get an AAU team, and that's something I hope to do in the future once I have enough time and availability for those guys to be accessible. But I just wanted to get an AAU team and just pour into the youth. Because I didn't want my recruiting process to have to repeat itself with kids. I wanted to be somebody that's been through it and to be able to guide and give
Give 'em that
guys
knowledge.
information. Yeah, give them information that I didn't have. I didn't have access to at my time. Things and so forth like that. But God had bigger and better plans. He put me straight on the collegiate level. Went from collegiate straight into the pros, and I just got to take that blessing and run with it.
Absolutely. So what you see with the game since the COVID everything? Have you seen the game changed, or you see like the game of basketball going through a different realm in the future? What do you see?
Man, it's hard to tell, man. I mean, like you said, guys are still playing and doing what's necessary to make fit. But the biggest thing is just everybody just trying to stay as safe as possible. Until we can get override this COVID wave, man.
Yeah,
Everything is just pretty unpredictable at this point.
Yeah, man, what's all that you got going on? Sound like you got something in the future. You could have a story to tell about that. You got any plans, man?
You put me on the spot, so I guess we'll let the people know then. I'm definitely working on my autobiography at this time. It'll be called Work Hard, Trust God, because that's
Okay,
the epitome of my life and my journey. I always believe as long as you work hard and trust God, something, whatever meant to happen will happen. And it might
absolutely.
not be what you want to happen, but something
Hmm.
good will happen if you do those two things.
I believe that, man. So it's like your work ethic is tremendous, man. So what do you see yourself doing this off season coming up?
Right now, I'm currently out of the game, due to coaching changes and all of that. But I'm still interested in, well, not interested. I'm still looking into seeing what happened with the G League. I know they're discussing taking a few teams to the bubble, so just waiting to see what teams commit to that and have any type of employment opportunities. And if not, probably I'll do some training on the side and staying close to the game as much as possible, working on some individual projects and things and so forth like that, and just staying sharp and waiting on my time.
Okay. Do you think with the new league with the players, the new G League with the system of bringing the high schoolers in, what you think about? You think it'll work or develop them for the next level?
I think it'll work, but to be honest, it's just hard to. I mean, with us battling COVID, it just messed
Yeah.
everything because those kids don't get us a full season in the G League. Like everything is expedited or shortened just to try to play it safe. So, like you said, until we can get halfway back right, this will be a hard year to evaluate them off of.
So when you say you was in China, how was the game different in China from over here in the States?
Well, the
Was
biggest
it the
thing is they
speed?
still, yeah, the speed, the IQ. I mean, we're just ahead. I'll be honest. The
Okay.
biggest challenge, the biggest difference was physicality. Chinese players are not as physical as we are, and that was the one thing that their head coach wanted me and my assistant with me, Antoine Broxy, to work with those guys on was being physical with them, getting them to absorb the contact when playing and getting used to getting hit and playing through that contact and all of those things. So that was the biggest difference. And just like you say, the speed of the game.
Shanghai Sharks. Don't they have they had a famous person
Yeah, I
involved
mean
there?
was the owner of that team, but he had
Okay.
recently sold it before we got there.
Did you get a chance to meet him?
No,
Yeah, he's
he was
like,
no longer a part of the
oh, okay,
team.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 7'5".
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, any particular training you say you're doing? Any particular guys out there you want to work with?
Nah, man. Whoever willing to work with me, that's how I go. I'm real low key. I'm
Yeah,
humble, and at the same time, guys become familiar with me. They want to work. I'm more than willing to work with them.
yeah. Cause it seems like the county got a lot of talent, but like you said, it's like more on football. So it's like kids to see this and see, okay, this guy was a good basketball player and he took a different route that could possibly motivate them to take the game more serious. Because, like got the Eddie Shannons, a lot of talent that's came out of Palm Beach,
Yeah,
Jackie
Jack Emmanuel.
Manuel,
Yeah.
Garrett Morris,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So,
Yep. Lee Margot, Alonzo G.
yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys that was able to make it from here.
So, what would you tell those guys to pursue the young kids? They want to play, but they feel like football is more. What would you tell them about
Exactly what you called your show. You got to bet on yourself,
bet on
man. Have
yourself?
have faith in yourself. Self confidence and everything. If you feel like you that's what you want to do, then you got to put the work in and beat the odds. I mean,
Absolutely.
my whole circle when I was growing up was football players, high level guys. It's the only one played basketball. That's why
Stood out.
it was best for me to move to the coast. You know what I'm saying? To get that exposure and get the resources that I needed to be put in a position to better myself and put myself in a situation to be recruited and all those sorts of things. So you gotta believe in yourself, man. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who will?
Absolutely. And that's why I think a lot of people give up and don't chase the dream and they feel like they ain't got what it takes. But like you said, when you bet on yourself and you figure it out, it's a whole different level out there. Cause like you say, you took an opportunity, you didn't even realize what you was doing, but that Twitter changed your life and took you to a whole nother level. So it's like you went past and surpassed situations and jumped obstacles and hurdles. And look what it's made you today.
Yeah, you definitely got to bet on yourself, man. And like you say, have self confidence and just be confident in the work that you put in. I'm a timer. Yeah, but just be confident in the work that you put in, man. That's the biggest thing. Because once you put the work in, then it all manifests.
Absolutely. So anything you want to tell everybody out there? Just
No, man, like you say, the biggest thing is, like you say, believe in yourself at all times, work hard at all times, put trust in God at all times. And like I said,
absolutely.
if it may not be exactly what you want to happen, but some great will happen. I can attest to that, and I promise you that. Put the work in, do what's necessary to get to where it is you're trying to go.
Yeah, man. Tell them general managers about you, man. If they paying attention out there, man. Them teams, let them know, man, what you gonna bring to the table with them organizations.
And what I just said,
Work
I'm gonna
hard.
work hard. I'm gonna put my faith in God. I'm gonna always believe in myself. And hey, certain things I can't speak on. I just got to be honest with you. I can't. It's something I can't speak on. It's just what the proof is in the pudding. I'm more about showing
Sean,
than speaking.
absolutely.
So that's just that.
I'm believing. That's a journey. So not too many people can say they got multiple situations they done been through and took it to another level. So, hey, man, you sound like a top priority to me. So you feel me? I'm with you.
Yeah, in due time, man, everything happens for a reason. So in due time, what God want me, He gonna put me. So just stay ready until the time being.
Okay. So you heard it first, man. Book on the way. Work hard, trust God. Tae Carter, NBA professional. Anything else before we go?
That's it, man. Stay blessed.
Scrambling gambling. You know what it is. Shoot the dice, bet on yourself, figure it out. You know what it is, scrambling gambling. I'm with Tae Carter. You can catch him
at Tae Carter, TAECARTER4 on IG and on Twitter.
And it's Chance Mills. You can catch me at Chance Mills at Roundtable Firm. You already know. Click that subscribe button. Catch us on the episode next coming up. But for right now, it's with Tae Carter, NBA professional. You already know. If you know, you know.